Even though we live in a crazy world full of emotions and problems, Stoic wisdom is making a strong comeback. It teaches us something freeing. Sometimes, to grow, we need to cut ties with certain people, even family and friends. This is not an invitation to be alone, but to be authentic and find inner peace. Today, we will look at 11 signs that this is happening. It's time to cut ties, so settle in to fully absorb the material. Let's begin. Number 1. When relationships get in the way of your personal growth, it sent us a deep message. Friendship that can end was never real. As this quote suggests, true friendship and family love should both support and guide us in our never-ending search for wisdom and virtue. However, it is important to know that sometimes the relationships we keep can take us off track from this growth path. When we realize that our emotional bonds are pulling us away from our true path, we need to deeply and honestly reflect on them. This is the time to question and reevaluate our relationships. To do this reassessment, you have to look inside yourself and often have the guts to make tough choices. Sometimes we have to rethink old friendships, ask ourselves about family dynamics, or even cut ties with friends who are bringing us down instead of lifting us up. This is all part of the process of self-discovery and, most importantly, self-appreciation. Really important thing is to understand that the people we choose to share our trip with affect our own growth. Journey with healthy and constructive relationships that push us to be better, respect our essence and life goals, and encourage us to be better. So, when we're in relationships that seem to be holding us back, it's important to remember Seneca wisdom. We should look for real relationships that can stand the test of time and hardship, help us in our search for wisdom, and most importantly, walk with us toward virtue. It's a path. Understand this, and you will be strong. This phrase is a strong reminder of how important it is to keep our emotions and thoughts in check, especially when we're in a relationship with someone who makes us feel angry, jealous, or resentful. These negative emotions can pull us away from our true inner strength when they become frequent and dominant in our relationships. They can also trap us in a cycle of reactions and automatic responses to situations that we can't always control. Anger, jealousy, and resentment are human emotions that can keep us from finding peace and self-control. The challenge is to recognize these negative feelings and know that we can choose how to react to them. As Marcus Aurelius says, we can't control what happens in the outside world, but we can completely control how we react to it. This requires constant self-analysis and self-mastery, which are important skills for keeping your mental and emotional health in tough relationships. When we realize that a relationship is making us feel bad all the time, it's important to look at how that relationship works and ask ourselves questions. Finding the inner strength to deal with destructive feelings in our relationships is important, no matter if the relationship is good for our health and growth or keeps us in a constant state of emotional turmoil. As Marcus Aurelius says, this means practicing patience, understanding, and empathy, as well as setting healthy boundaries and, if necessary, separating ourselves from relationships that keep us from reaching our full intellectual and emotional potential. It is a path of self-discovery and personal empowerment where we learn to value relationships that make us feel better and get rid of ones that make us feel bad. Third number. Exploring the issue of manipulation and control in interpersonal relationships, it is important to think about Epictetus's, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, view on autonomy. He tells us that no one is free who is not master of himself. This maxim captures the essence of individual freedom and self-governance, which are important for well-being and personal growth. Controlling and manipulating someone in any relationship is a clear sign that their autonomy is being violated. When someone constantly affects or tells them what to do, think, or decide, they are seriously violating their personal freedom. This situation goes against the ideas of Stoicism, which stress self-mastery and independence. It is important to know the signs of a controlling or manipulative relationship, which can show up in many ways, such as constant criticism that lowers self-esteem, isolating yourself from friends and family, or making decisions without asking others what they think. Not only do these actions hurt a person's self-esteem, but they also trap them in a cycle of emotional and psychological dependence. Realizing that you are in a relationship that limits your freedom is the first step to freedom. Epictetus says that true freedom comes from being in charge of your own life, setting healthy limits, and ending relationships that take away your essential freedom. Making the decision to end a manipulative relationship can be challenging and even painful. However, it is an act of courage and a crucial step in regaining control over one's own life. This process of liberation is a journey of self-discovery, self-affirmation, and above all, reaffirmation of one's own worth and independence. In summary, recognizing and distancing ourselves from relationships, those that control or manipulate us, is a very self-respecting thing to do. After Epictetus's, when the relationship hurts more than it helps, we should try to be in charge of our own lives and build relationships with people who accept our independence and let us reach our full potential. When being with someone hurts you more than it helps, when talking about the dynamics of relationships that do more harm than good, it's important to stress how important inner well-being is in everyone's journey. Toxic relationships, which drain energy, cause constant emotional discomfort, and create a negative environment, are the exact opposite of personal growth and development. In this case, it's important to know that the constant presence of tension and unresolved conflicts, disrespect for each other, and a lack of emotional support are signs of a bad relationship. These kinds of dynamics not only stop people from growing, but they can also hurt their mental and physical health. When there is toxicity in a relationship, it often shows up as things like constant criticism, not understanding, manipulation, or even mental abuse. These situations make the person feel trapped and unable to move forward in their personal or professional life. To achieve inner well-being, they need to be in a setting that supports positivity. Mutual support, respect, and above all promotes mental and emotional health. When a relationship becomes an obstacle to achieving these aspects, it is a clear sign that change is a necessary making. The decision to distance oneself from a toxic relationship is an act of self-care and self-respect. Although this choice may be difficult and accompanied by feelings of guilt or fear, it is a crucial step in making room for healthy and constructive relationships that genuinely contribute to growth and well-being. The process of disengaging from a harmful relationship is also a moment of reflection and learning. It is an opportunity to strengthen self-esteem, reaffirm one's values and priorities, and gain a better understanding of the type of relationship that positively contributes to the journey of life. Therefore, it is essential to be attentive to the signs of a toxic relationship and have the courage to seek change when necessary. After all, the pursuit of inner well-being and personal growth should be a priority in our lives, and the relationships we cultivate play a crucial role in this process. Number 5, if there is a lack of mutual respect. The issue of mutual respect in interpersonal relationships is a crucial point, especially in light of Stoic principles that value dignity and self-control. Relationships devoid of mutual respect are incompatible with these values and can lead to an environment of misunderstanding, loss of value, and constant stress. Respect is the basis for healthy relationships. It means recognizing differences, being able to listen and understand the other person's point of view, and showing empathy and consideration. Without respect, communication breaks down, arguments get worse, and harmony falls apart. When two people in a relationship don't respect each other, it often shows up as disrespect, criticism, not caring about the other person's needs and feelings, or even abuse. These behaviors not only hurt the relationship, but they also have a big impact on the people involved's self-esteem and emotional health. According to Stoic teachings, It is important to treat others with the same respect and consideration that we want for ourselves. If this basic element is missing from a relationship, it becomes unhealthy and off balance. If you find yourself in a D-dynamic relationship where mutual respect is missing, you should look at it and think about what changes you need to make to get things back in balance. This could mean having an open conversation, setting clear boundaries, or even stepping away, especially if the disrespect is ongoing and can't be fixed. Recognizing the lack of respect in a relationship and taking steps to fix it or step away from it is an important part of keeping your own mental health and dignity. In the end, picking relationships based on mutual respect is picking a road to self-worth and personal growth that is in line with Stoic ideas of honor and self-control. Number 6. If a relationship makes it hard to accept reality, the Stoic method stresses how important it is to accept reality. This is also true in personal relationships. Relationships that keep us stuck in illusions or encourage us to deny reality are not healthy. Stoic philosophy says that accepting reality doesn't mean giving up or being passive. Instead, it means having a clear and objective view of the world as it really is, without any false hopes or idealizations. When we apply this principle to our relationships, it's clear that keeping bonds based on illusions or denying facts keeps us from living honestly and authentically. Relationships that encourage us to ignore the truth, whether through fantasies, making up reasons for bad behavior, or creating a different reality, keep us from having a real understanding of ourselves and others. This disconnect from the real world can make us ignore important problems, make choices based on skewed views, and are constantly disappointed in this kind of relationship, promises that aren't kept and expectations that are too high. People get angry and unhappy when they have to give up their beliefs, expectations, or even when they refuse to see obvious problems. This is because people are always looking for something that doesn't exist in the real world. It can be hard to face the truth in a relationship, especially when it means letting go of illusions that we are tied to. But it's an important step for personal growth and for making relationships healthier and more realistic. As the Stoics say, we should accept things as they are, look for peace in that understanding. Because of this, it is important to know how to tell if a relationship is based more on illusion than truth. By realizing these dynamics and stepping away from them, we can find our way to a more authentic and satisfying life that is in line with the Stoic principles of acceptance and a clear view of reality. Don't forget to leave a review to help this content reach more people. You can also like and subscribe to keep getting content that will help you grow mentally. Let's move on to number 7. If you're giving up your beliefs, Stoicism is based on living in line with your own values. It's also a key part of having a happy and meaningful life, especially when we're in relationships that force us to give up or betray our core values. We are in a very important situation that needs careful thought and reevaluation. Personal values are like an internal compass that guides our choices, actions, and how we interact with the world around us. They are a reflection of our deepest beliefs and what we think is important and true. When a relationship asks us to give up or ignore these values, it not only hurts our personal integrity, but it can also make us feel very unhappy and uncomfortable. A relationship that requires values betrayal can show up in many forms, such as, at first, these compromises may not seem like much, but over time, they can add up and hurt our self-esteem and sense of self-respect. Stoic philosophy shows us how important it is to live in line with our values. That means being brave enough to keep our distance from things that aren't helping us, stay on track, and to look for relationships that respect and reflect our most basic values. When we look at a relationship again through the lens of how it fits with our values, it's not always easy, and it can lead to internal battles. While staying true to your values can be hard at times, it's important for your mental and emotional health and shows that you respect yourself and are honest. Because of this, it's important to be aware of how your relationships affect and reflect your values. If we find that we're giving up on our core values, we should think about whether this relationship is good for our personal growth and well-being. Choosing paths that align with our values is not only a Stoic principle, but also a vital step toward living a truly authentic and fulfilling life. Number 8. When the relationship is not reciprocal. Reciprocity in any relationship is a key factor for its health and sustainability and imbalance. When one person always gives and the other always receives, it creates an unfair situation that can be harmful and unsustainable in the long run. Balanced relationships are ones where both people contribute and receive in a fair and equitable way. This exchange doesn't have to be exact or immediate, but there should be a general sense of mutuality and support when one person is always the giver and the other remains the receive. This kind of one-sided relationship can show up in many ways, such as emotionally, where one person always helps and rarely asks for help in return, or practically, when one person struggles with daily tasks or big decisions. When this happens all the time, the relationship stops being a partnership and becomes a burden for one person. It's important to know the signs of a one-sided relationship and fix the problem. This could mean having honest talks about wants and needs. It's important to remember that self-respect and self-esteem are also at stake when setting new limits and responsibilities, and sometimes questioning whether the relationship can last in the long run. Putting yourself in a constant position of giving without receiving due value and consideration can make you feel less valuable. Seeking balance in a relationship is not only the right thing to do, it's also good for you. To keep relationships healthy and fulfilling, it's important to look for reciprocity. Balanced relationships help both people grow and are happy with their lives. These are the kinds of relationships we should strive for and build in our lives, for our own health and the health of the people we love. If you're enjoying this, don't miss the chance to share it with others. The 9th one. What kind of abuse is happening? Any kind of abuse is not okay in any relationship. Stoic wisdom, which stresses how important it is to treat yourself with respect and honor, makes it clear that we should never put up with harmful or abusive behavior. Abuse can come in many forms, such as physical, emotional, verbal, psychological, or even financial. No matter what form it takes, it is very bad for the mental, physical, and emotional health of the person who experiences it. Abuse happens when someone controls, threatens, isolates, or fears another person. Stoic philosophy tells us to value and respect ourselves. This means realizing our own worth and not putting up with being treated in a way that hurts our dignity or well-being, like being in an abusive relationship. Being in a relationship that constantly devalues and dehumanizes us is what it means to be abusive, which is the exact opposite of what the Stoics would think. A good and honorable life, realizing that you are in an abusive relationship, is the first thing you need to do to get help and make a change. It is important to know that abuse is never okay, and that the abuser is the only one responsible for it, not the victim. To get out of this situation, you need to get help from friends, family, or experts. Leaving an abusive relationship can be hard and takes strength and help, but it is an important step toward regaining self-esteem, respect, and freedom. When you're getting over an abusive relationship, you have to remind yourself of your own worth and power. That's why it's important to know the signs of abuse and act right away to protect yourself. It's important to follow the Stoic ideas of self-worth and self-respect on this trip. Everyone has the right to live a life free of harm and with dignity. Number 10. When communication keeps breaking down. Good communication is an important part of any good relationship. When we're in a situation where communication keeps breaking down, whether it's on one side or there's constant conflict, we need to take action. Face a big problem that gets in the way of harmony and understanding. Stoic philosophy says that misunderstandings, anger, and resentment often happen in relationships where communication is poor. One-sided communication, in which one person leads the conversation or doesn't give the other person a chance to speak, creates a harmful imbalance. In the same way, conversation that is constantly tense and can't find common ground can be draining and wear on a Stoic. Harmony and balance both within themselves and in their relationships with others. They promote the idea that we should try to understand each other and talk peacefully. If you want to avoid pointless arguments and create an atmosphere of mutual respect, then good communication is key. To improve communication in a relationship, it's important to practice active listening. You should be able to express yourself clearly and respectfully, be open to dialogue, and understand the other person's point of view. This includes being able to talk about problems, share feelings and needs, and work together to find constructive solutions. How to do it. When communication consistently fails and attempts to improve it fail, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. In some cases, getting help from a professional like a couples therapist or counselor can help get past these communication problems. Keeping healthy and effective communication going is essential for the health and longevity of any relationship. This is also important for your own health. Number 11. If the relationship makes your tranquility worse, Stoic philosophy says that maintaining serenity and inner tranquility is important for a happy and balanced life. If we're in relationships that are constantly upsetting our inner peace, it's a clear sign that we need to carefully question these relationships, and if necessary, re-evaluate or even end relationships that cause constant internal turmoil. Whether it's through constant fights, stress, worry, or feeling unsafe, these things go against the Stoic principle of finding peace. Stoic philosophy tells us to value emotional balance and stay calm inside, even when things are hard outside. But living in a relationship that is always upsetting makes it harder to do this. Serenity. It can make us feel bad emotionally all the time, which is bad for our mental health and makes it hard to enjoy life and do things that matter. In this situation, it's important to think about how the relationship affects our health. This includes how it makes us feel, if there is a pattern of negative that can't be fixed, and if there have been attempts to make the relationship better. Dynamics haven't worked. It's never easy to end a relationship, especially when there are strong feelings involved. But Stoic philosophy tells us to make choices that are good for our health and inner peace. This may mean staying away from relationships that are bad for our tranquility. It's important to remember that seeking tranquility is not selfishness, but an important step for staying healthy and living by our higher principles. Even though it's hard, this journey is a chance to grow and remember our most important beliefs and principles. Remember that every choice we make, especially the ones that help us leave bad situations, takes courage and a lot of self-respect. Embracing this Stoic journey not only protects our health but also leads to a more moral and satisfying life. If you liked our content, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and join our community. This is just the start of an amazing journey of self-discovery and growth. I can't wait to share more with you and keep working with you to make your life richer and more important. See you in the next video.